Hey, main eventers, what's happening? If you guys know one thing about us, it's that we love Strong Style Brand. Strong Style Brand is an indie wrestling-inspired apparel company based out of Providence, Rhode Island. You guys have heard us talk about it many times on the show. We always give them a plug. We're always sporting Strong Style Brand. I'm wearing a Strong Style Brand hoodie right now as I speak to you. It's incredible. They've got brand new barbed wire hoodies for February. Also, what's new in February? They've got some dope-ass 205 colored purple ring snapbacks. They look incredible. You guys need to get your hands on these. And an easy way to do so is to go to strongstylebrand.com/main-event-pod. And then at the end of picking out all your cool shit, you're going to enter code main-event-pod at checkout. And that's going to save you 10% off your whole purchase. And a little bit of that gets kicked back to the podcast. So if you're into looking awesome and want to wear some indie wrestling-inspired gear made by Strong Style Brand, do so. And it helps the podcast. It helps support this show that you're listening to. And we would definitely appreciate that. So go to strongstylebrand.com/main-event-pod, enter code main-event-pod at checkout, and you'll be the flyest guy on the block.
Talking about wrestling from today in the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the Main Event Podcast.
It is fired up. I hope we got that. It is fired up. Hello, Harmon. What's happening, brother?
Hi. First night in the new studio.
Yeah, how is it doing over there?
Going good.
Good. You showed me your Alexa lights or whatever it is. Yeah.
Alexa's my bitch.
Alexa, turn lights green or something. How do you say it?
Yeah, that's how you say it.
That's literally how you do it?
Turn bedroom green.
Turn bedroom green. Nice.
She won't do it because I have headphones on. She can't hear you.
Ah, yes. Old Alexa. So the Royal Rumble was the other day, so we're going to talk about that tonight. That was really fun. And but before we
takeover,
a little NXT takeover. I watched most of it. I missed some matches, I believe. So I'm still trying to catch up on all this wacky wrestling going on. So
you know what we should do? We should have on a bona fide sports guy.
We should do that sometime. Do you want to do it tonight?
Who are we going to find on such short notice?
I don't know, man. Let's make a call. I think we could call our good buddy David Dyer over at the Kennebec Journal.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh my God! Hi, there you are.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Just like that.
I was over here in the corner just eating some chips, and
there he is, Dave Dyer,
right over in the corner.
Yeah,
right here, right over in the corner.
Sticky rice balls
with a nice glass of scotch and some Pringles.
Yeah.
Scotch and Pringles.
Yeah,
that's the after dinner snack of champions, right?
Yeah,
there. Harmon, that's the breakfast of champions, right there. I don't know about
exactly. Breakfast. I have a job I have to go to. I'm not a sports, reporter. I can't go in sauced. So
yeah.
Well, I don't work till the afternoon, so I can.
Be sauced until the afternoon. Perfect.
Yeah,
that's right.
Dave doesn't have to go watch girls play lacrosse until about 3 p.m. So
exactly right.
It's a real rough life he's got over there. So
it gives you all morning to do whatever you need.
It's got to be girls' basketball season right now, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah.
There's some decent teams in the old state of Maine right now. There's a few.
Yeah. How is the sports writing job going?
It's going well. We're wrapping up the regular season for high school basketball and hockey. We're just a couple of weeks away from the tournament, which is always pretty big here in Maine, which is pretty cool. Ready for that. We'll have a lot of coverage at our 3 major tournament sites, which is the Portland Expo down in Portland. That'll mostly be covered by our sister paper, the Portland Press Herald. And we'll be all over Augusta.
Is our old high school top 5 in anything?
No, I can answer that immediately. Massabesic is not doing that great.
No,
Yeah.
in anything. We had a good run in basketball for what, a couple years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and boys are still doing okay, but the other sports now it's pretty.
Yeah.
At least for the winter sports, it's not been the greatest year for men.
What about wrestling? Wrestling, we were always a wrestling powerhouse. Not
Wrestling's
anymore.
still doing well. Wrestling's still doing well. And they'll certainly make their mark in the class A tournament. Plenty of singles guys who will be doing well there.
Still class A, huh? I'm surprised there's that many kids playing sports.
Well, unfortunately, the Maine Principals Association just had their latest meeting, and participation's down in fall sports. Pretty
It's
much
weird,
all over the
right?
place. Yeah.
I see participation is down in riding your bike around your neighborhood too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see kids do that anymore.
No.
And at least, or at least not like decked out in like helmets and elbow pads and knee pads and shin pads and everything. God, these kids are babied.
They would rather put the virtual reality headset on and bike that way.
True.
Having to leave their room.
Yep.
Says the three guys doing a virtual conference.
I know. What a bunch of
right.
nerd alert. Hey, so
Rockland.
so Dave, so you recently wrote a pretty interesting article. I read it. I believe Harmon read it. It was really good. It was about the XFL, the Vince McMahon's bringing back the XFL. So your article was great, man. I thought it was fantastic. You had seven ways that that they could be successful. And they're pretty interesting. My favorite being Tim Tebow, by the way. So I don't know if you have them off the top of your head that you could just rattle them off, but it'd be pretty neat. Or if you want to save people, the spoiler alert and tell them to just read the article.
No. I'll happily. At least I'll try to remember all seven. And by the way, I certainly feel there's a lot more than seven that need to be done by Vince McMahon and his crew before they hit the field in 2020. But the seven that I wrote in my column this past week, I felt were seven of the more important pieces of the equation if he's hoping to have a successful run this time around as opposed to 2001. I think one of the biggest things, or part of the biggest thing was, or to start off at seven anyway, was, one, to have a major television deal. And I don't mean, through, well, I think Spike TV is going out of business, but the USA Network.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, the USA Network or any of those kind of, I don't want to necessarily call them second-rate channels, but you need one of the major ones. You need ABC or CBS or Fox, or you need one of those guys underneath, with a major television deal. You do. Maybe. And I know somebody on Twitter called me out on it. I think it was America's Podcast. That's a dinosaur thought process. I don't know how. There's no greater way of getting your product out there than by a major. There's streaming services, but that's only so many people have the streaming services. Everybody has, the simple
6, 8,
cable
13,
channels. Yeah, 6, 8, and 13 on their television sets. So honestly, like, with all due respect to that guy, that's a pretty stupid answer. So you need to have a major network behind you to help make your product legitimate.
Maybe Vince needs to call on old Ted Turner here. Maybe he can get on TBS and TNT.
Ted's Superstation.
Ted's got.
They cover the basketball. Do a lot of basketball. I mean, maybe they'll be into a fledgling football league.
So,
yes.
And I know Harmon and I talked a little bit on Twitter about this beforehand. As we know right now, the National Football League, which Vince, first and foremost, Vince needs to stop thinking that whatever league he creates is going to compete with them, because it's not. That no one is going to go away in droves from the National Football League, regardless of their ratings dropping, to go full blown into the XFL, and the XFL is not going to take over the NFL. That's just a ridiculous thought process, and you need to get that out of his head.
AFL,
yeah, exactly. So he needs to get that out of his head immediately. But
what was the last one to go under? Was it the UFL?
The UFL was the last one.
I remember Luke McCown played in that. Dante Culpepper.
A lot
I
of
remember seeing
XFL guys were in that. Just for it lasted about 2 years. They had no TV deal whatsoever, which crippled them severely.
No, I specifically remember seeing Dante Culpepper versus Luke McCown on TV.
Yeah, but it was
probably on like the Ocho, but
I think it had a TV deal for 1 year, and then the second year it didn't.
Is that a Trump thing?
I don't know if Trump was behind that or not. It died after 2 years.
Didn't he have his finger in one of those pies? It was like the AFL,
that was the USFL in the 1980s.
USFL, that's what it was.
Right, and they beat the NFL in court for $1.
Wow,
a single dollar. Yeah. So,
do you think you guys think Trump you think Trump's in bed with this thing or what, with the XFL, with him and Vince?
I don't think so.
You think so? You would think.
Yeah, you would think.
This is what I think happened. I think Vince McMahon woke up one morning. He opened up a newspaper and he saw that ratings in the NFL were down. He's seen that, all the stuff going on with the national anthem and players kneeling for the national anthem. And he's like, ratings are down in the NFL. This is the perfect time to bring back the XFL. And here's the thing. It's bothered Vince all of these years that the league failed. One, because Vince hasn't had a ton of failure in his career, right? Like he's the king of wrestling, right? Yeah. He's the king, and in that realm, he owns the world. But he's always wanted to be successful outside of the wrestling business, and he never has. He hasn't done it in movies. Lord knows he hasn't done it in movies. We've seen the movies that he's done.
We watch one a month.
Yeah, exactly. And who can forget the ICO Pro Professional Bodybuilding Association?
Oh, wow.
Where everybody had gimmicks. Oh man,
right.
Weird. So weird.
So, and he thought that he could tackle the football realm in 2001, and he failed miserably. And he failed miserably based off a lot of things. I mean, one, the rules were really just kind of hokey, and at the time, I mean, to roll a football, to have a fumble drill, decide who's getting the ball first in the game. I mean, that's just kind of.
It's weird. It's gimmicky and it's hokey.
I can remember Steve Clegg and I debating on whether or not we should go down to New York for tryouts. Because they had open tryouts.
Yeah. You guys might have gotten signed. But
well, we were 19 years old in peak physical condition. Well, yeah. I don't know if I've ever been in peak physical condition, but I was in some kind of physical condition.
But yeah, no, so the nicknames on the back instead of your actual last names, the interviews with there's none of the coaches were really big name guys. That was one of your 7, right? It was like to get like good coaches who have NFL experience who are just maybe just got released or whatever. I don't know, like. I know you mentioned Pagano and Fox, and I think, and a couple. Right, and that's just to those are just recently fired coaches who it could be. Basically, this league needs recognizable names and faces to at least to start. You need to start with recognizable names. You need to have recognizable coaches on the sidelines coaching teams that you can get behind. So as far as a coach goes, you need a guy with NFL experience. You just do, or major Division I experience. So a guy like, recently fired like Chuck Pagano from the Colts would be an excellent choice, I think. Or a John Fox or a Jim Caldwell from Detroit.
Where's Mike Tice when you need him?
He'll end up being the commissioner. So on the coaching side, I absolutely believe you need to hire guys who have recognizable names, who have history in professional football. Yeah. The other another point that I made was I think that the very first signing or draft pick, or however you want to say it or do it, go to Tim Tebow's house, give him as much money as he wants, make him the face of your league immediately. Because Vince McMahon, in his press conference last week, he's saying that you have to have an absolutely clean record to be a player in the XFL, and that includes no DUIs. So Who better?
Any
to
idea how many athletes that alienates?
Yeah, he was
Absolutely.
really thinning the crowd there with that statement.
He may have to. Yeah, he may have to go back to the well and negotiate that rule. But if that's the kind of player you're going for, then the person who best represents that type of character is Tim Tebow. There's no question about it. And by 2020, I assume his baseball career will likely be over by then. So,
you would think, yeah.
Or he'll be slugging bombs from the mat. One of the
exactly
right.
And
hitting bombs.
It's become obvious that the NFL isn't going to bring him back. They don't like his unorthodox delivery. Even though the guy's a winner, he's won at every level of football he played, and that included a playoff win for the Broncos over the Steelers a few years back. But they just don't like the way that he throws. He's not a 60+% completion percentage guy. That's just not in his DNA. But
he's a tryhard.
Yeah, but he's a huge name. There's still a lot of weight that goes into his name. And he definitely still has a tremendous fan base. I think that would be the perfect signing as the first player in the league. So
no, I agree, man. I'm a big Tebow fan, even though I'm like, obviously you guys know me. I'm not like the biggest like religious dude. Like he's like super like uber religious. But I just think he's a good dude. And Vince wants to go family friendly with this thing. I mean, there's no better guy than Tim Tebow to go with on that. I think that's a great idea. I didn't even think about that until I read your article, and I was like, fantastic idea, Dave. That makes a ton of sense. He could put the whole league on that guy's shoulders, and that guy could be, the Tom Brady of that league, essentially.
Absolutely. And just to go off of a couple of other points I made, I said there's going to be 8 cities with the new league, and I listed 8 cities that I know. You need to put the teams in cities that don't have NFL teams in it right now,
right?
But that do love football. For example, in 2 years, the Raiders will leave Oakland and go to Las Vegas. So I think Oakland would be a pretty awesome place, or even San Diego, where they lost the Chargers recently.
Yeah.
I think fans could show up for that and accept a new team. I picked Orlando because it's Florida and it's the tourist capital of the country. It's everybody goes down there for Disney World. It's a perfect place for a team.
Mm-hmm.
Just spout it about major cities without NFL teams that fans will certainly show up in.
RG3 and.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine Kaepernick will be in this. Like, I can't imagine Vince is going to throw Kaepernick down there. RG3, I don't know what's RG3's deal. I can't imagine RG3 coming back either.
RG3 has a clean record, so theoretically, if you wanted to,
Kaepernick does too.
Good.
No,
Kaepernick
I know. I know
He
Kaepernick has a clean record, but I mean the stigma. Right. I can't imagine Vince McMahon having Kaepernick in there with all the negative press and hoopla. I'm just saying with Vince. I don't think
Vince says that politics will not play a part in his league.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, for the record, I don't have a problem with it. I would love to see Kaepernick play again, but I just don't see Vince McMahon doing that.
Well, he did essentially say that you do have to stand for the national anthem. So, but then again, Kaepernick said that if he were signed by an NFL team, he would stand for the anthem. He's made his point. He's willing to play along now. But I think, call it what you will with the NFL, whether you want to call it blackballing or what have you. I don't know. I certainly hope he gets a chance next year. I hope somebody signs him. I heard John Gruden might be interested in Oakland to at least give him a shot. But I don't know.
I want to ask you, when would they be playing? Are they playing in the NFL off season, or what are they trying?
So Vince wants to do this starting. The season would begin. It would be a 10-week season with a playoffs and championship game that would begin at the end of January. So if you put that against the National Football League season, that's still, you're talking about the divisional round, or even the conference championship round of the NFL playoffs. So the start of the season would be going head to head with the National Football League, which I don't think is a very good idea.
I think it'll be going head to head against the All-Star game.
Right. It's fine.
Which
Yeah, it's fine to go against
nobody
the Pro
watches.
Bowl.
No,
Right,
nobody
yeah,
watches the Pro Bowl.
Oh no, it's the worst. It's the worst of the All-Star games without question. But I would feel a lot more comfortable if the league began exactly 1 week after the Super Bowl, and then start your 10 weeks from there. Because here's the thing. I know there's been arguments made by national media members like, oh, well, you start at that point of the season and, football fans can be turned off. Well, no, if you love football, you want more football. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want, there's a lot of people out there who have no problem with football being on all year round.
Right.
They don't.
And there's still 6 more weeks of winter at that point.
Right. Yeah. And for me, to be quite honest with you, for me, the worst time of the season are those few weeks between the Super Bowl and when spring training gets going for the Red Sox.
That weird time of year where you end up talking about the Daytona 500.
Yeah, no, but it's to me, there's that dead period where it's okay, man, let's get something exciting going. Cause I don't know, for me, that period where basketball and hockey's going, I like basketball and hockey, but that's not enough for me. I need some sort of action.
It's regular season basketball. It's regular season hockey.
Right.
Football's over with. The draft is still 2 months away.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, no, I was just going to kind of change topics a little bit about another question about XFL, but if you want to wrap up what you're going to say, go for it.
I was just going to say though, in some ways starting the season could do well there, but I would feel a lot more comfortable. It would feel like there'd be a better chance to start it off on the right foot if you started it either the middle of February or even the end of February. I think that would be.
How about this? You run two weeks preseason. You start preseason Pro Bowl weekend. You have preseason games going on Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
So you have 2 weeks in a row, and then your season starts the week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be totally fine. That would be fine. And then if you're that way, and obviously I would have XFL games on a different night than Sunday. I'd probably have it maybe Saturday night or something, or Friday night. Who the hell knows? Friday night. It's up to them.
Right.
But I certainly wouldn't do it on a Sunday. And,
all Thursday night games.
So Dave, I know one of your points too was to kind of keep Vince kind of out of the spotlight and kind of keep him as far back as possible. Yes. Do you guys, so sticking with that, do you guys, I kind of want to ask both of you guys, I want your opinions on it. Do you think that people will tune into the XFL just because it's football, or do you think that some people will still kind of hold that pro wrestling stigma that they're like, this is football, but it's made by that pro wrestling guy? You know what I mean? Like how sometimes most of the time pro wrestling isn't really accepted into the mainstream. Right. It's getting more and more coverage now with ESPN when something big happens, or there's a celebrity crossover, which we'll get into later. Spoiler alert. But you know what I mean? There's that weird stigma where people will just kind of go, it's a pro wrestling thing. I'm not really into it. Do you think that will carry over into the XFL, or do you think that people will just be like, oh, hey, it's football, I'm going to watch it anyway because there's no football on right now and I want to see some football?
No, I think Dave's absolutely right. As long as Vince keeps in the background, just keeps the wheels moving and stays out of the limelight, lets the coaches or team owners and players be the face of the league. Get your announce team set up so that people know who's calling these games, and who's talking about it. And yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's why he's gone out and made this other company so that, wrestling is completely separate, because the first time around, it definitely wasn't. You had The Rock in the stands and
you had Jesse Ventura doing commentary and Jim Ross. Yeah.
You had, he was on the sideline, stuff like that. It's just all that stupid crap. No doing interviews, during third downs. I mean, for Christ's sakes.
Right. And here's the thing too, where there's a chance with this league is with the youth and with young guys, with the young crowd, because they weren't alive or they were barely alive when the one season of the XFL was happening. So this would actually be new to them. I mean, they'll have their older family members tell them about the one horrible season of the XFL, but this is brand new to them. For the older crowd, it might be a little bit harder to try to, I don't know, like, we failed you once, we won't fail you again. I guess that would be the line I would take with those guys. But
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the thing with Vince, though, and I made this a point in my column, and I can't emphasize this enough. The American public, outside of professional wrestling fans, do not take Vince McMahon seriously. They just don't. They don't. The national, my colleagues in the media don't take him seriously, and Joe Blow American outside of professional wrestling fan does not. They always associate him with professional wrestling, and if you don't like professional wrestling, guess what? He's the face of the circus. So Vince needs to stay in the background as much as humanly possible. He admitted it during. I watched all 25 minutes of this press conference that he did the other day, and at times it was pretty long. But it was. But he even said at the press conference, "This may be the only time you see my face associated with the XFL." Now, I don't believe that for a second, but I do think that he could be smart enough to go, look, I was like way too, my face was in front of too many cameras with the XFL the last time around. I mean, he challenged Bob Costas to a fight during an interview about the XFL and about the WWE, and it just made him look absolutely terrible. I think he's learned from that, or at least I'd like to believe that he's learned from that. And I think he'll definitely be further in the background. Let the game do the talking. Let the on-field play do the talking for this league. Certainly, there are parts that I believe could work that would be different from the NFL. A couple of cases that I made in my column. For one, I definitely believe replay should be outlawed entirely in the new league.
I love that idea.
I don't think there should be any replay whatsoever. Whatever the ref says goes. If you don't like it, tough noogie. It's just not gonna. It's just not. The game's gonna continue on, and I
think that's a great idea too, because replay slows down the game, and then it also gives fans like such a huge leg to stand on. You know what I mean? Like it constantly is like, you see the replay, you see everything slow down, and that ref blew that call. It's like, well, you wouldn't know that in real time. Like these refs are really trying to put on, give it their all, and you know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely, no, it's absolutely true.
It gives everybody gripes. It gives everybody gripes when you see like a guy, a half an inch, step his foot half an inch out of bounds. It's like, and then the whole fan base of whatever team that gets shafted in that call blows up, and it's just, it makes the game less fun.
No, absolutely, and Vince wants to keep the game to 2 hours. I think that's wonderful. I think that's a major part of what's wrong with the NFL right now. The average NFL game right now is about 3 hours long. And you that there's going to be a couple of replay challenges involved in that game, and if you cut the quarters down from 15 minutes to at least 10 or 12 minutes per quarter. And I'd keep halftime. He was considering not having a halftime. I'm fine with halftime. Keep that, but just shorten the quarters down. Do 10 or 12 minute quarters. Have no replay, and I think you'll be a lot closer to that 2 hour time than I think that would help tremendously.
Yeah, nice.
I'm gonna little thing here. As it stands right now, how many college seasons do players have to get in the draft? 2?
3. They have to make it to their junior season.
Okay.
To get in the NFL draft. So, now, one thing.
The XFL, how about they could do a one and done type deal?
That's precisely what columnists around the country have been bringing up lately, and it might be the biggest thing going for the XFL going forward. Is obviously a lot of these players who get scholarships to major D1 schools do not come from the greatest financial background ever. Well, I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Right. They get these guys paid.
Yeah, exactly. If Vince is able to go to these guys after having an outstanding freshman season, go to these young guys and go, look, you can play in my league. I will pay you whatever they're going to be paying these players. Who the heck knows? I'll give you $500,000 a year. I'm just being conservative here. I'll give you $500,000 a year. per year for the next couple of years, and then you can leave my league and go into the NFL and make tremendous money.
Yeah.
Like millions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And mind you now,
are the second string running back for Alabama, and they've got another freshman coming in next year. The chances of you getting on the field are slim, but we think you're good enough to play in the XFL. So come on over,
That's crazy, guys. Like that could like totally shake up the NCAA too. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I know they're so goddamn corrupt.
That might be one of the greatest things that could ever happen. And let's not forget, media members want to crap all over the NFL, or I mean the XFL, sorry, about that one season. The XFL, like that 30 for 30 actually did a really great job highlighting a couple of things that not only did the XFL do well, but stuff that the NFL ended up taking with them to, going forward. One was like the camera work that the XFL was doing. They ended up using the same camera work now you see on a regular basis at NFL games. Above the field and behind the quarterback. They did that. They started that.
Right.
That's so they were innovative in a way, in a sense. I'm not going to sit here and say that.
Right, they had that wire camera way back then.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and so they were innovative to a sense. I mean, they taught future generations of football broadcasts what to do and also what not to do. So I mean, it was twofold. It wasn't just like, oh, this is just absolute complete garbage. No, they brought a couple of things that are now used on a regular NFL broadcast. So, and who knows, this time around they might get innovative again and have a couple more items to bring to an NFL broadcast. Mm-hmm. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I believe. I mean, look, there's a lot of things that have to go right. I'm not sitting here telling you that it's guaranteed that this league is going to work, because they got a lot of hurdles to climb over. But could it? But is there a possibility that it can work? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm not going to throw this right into the garbage pile, immediately. Not until I see it anyway. Not until I see how they're going to present it. I mean, if they're going to present it exactly how they did the last time, which Vince said they're not going to, then sure, obviously, if they did it exactly like they did in 2001, yeah, it's going to die within like 3 weeks. But
yeah, I think my biggest concern too is like player safety. Like I know a lot of time, like a lot of I don't know. I want to say like probably our age and older. There are a lot of people that miss like that really hard hitting NFL, where there were kind of no unnecessary roughness calls. Right. You could hit like a receiver, a defenseless receiver, stuff like that. Like just guys getting blown up. I think there are a lot of fans, like I said, our age and older, that kind of miss that. And player safety, I think is taken pretty seriously in the NFL nowadays. Given the helmet to helmet contact and flags called like that, and suspensions and fines. I am really totally okay if the XFL wants to implement a lot of that stuff. I mean, Vince says it's going to be family friendly. I don't want it to be a pushover league, but at the same time, I don't want these guys just to like throw out a lot of the stuff that the NFL has implemented to like protect these guys' brains. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want these guys to just go get post concussion syndrome like every friggin' game just because that's
hockey helmets, like lingerie football league, and that way they won't leave with their goddamn head.
Yeah, that's always a thought. Yeah.
No, I mean, certainly, and Vince said in the press conference that they're going to take every precaution they can. I'm certainly, that's one of those areas where I'm kind of thinking that Vince is talking a little, blowing a little smoke out of himself there. I think the NFL has certainly done, many things to help player safety. They have a long way to go still. And certainly there's items that they're kind of failing in lately, particularly their concussion protocol. But, they're working on it though. And it's at least, look, the concussion protocol didn't even exist a couple of years ago. So
right.
The fact that they've even got it going now is a step in the right direction. And
if you're Cam Newton, it still doesn't exist.
You're exactly right. But within the next couple of years, who knows the improvements that are going to be made? And every team now is assigned a neurologist to work the sidelines. Usually, one not associated with team. Like I know the NFL, they have an independent guy there to check in on guys, and that's probably what Vince is going to try to do with the XFL and have medical professionals there and take their advice, and hopefully that's the case. I mean, I mean, what will they go through with it? I surely hope so, because otherwise that's not going to, in this day and age with parents taking their kids away from playing sports. I mean, the national participation rate in the sport of football was down everywhere this past year. In the state of Texas, high school football, the participation rate of high school football in the state of Texas, which is the biggest, in my mind, is the most football crazy state there is.
Of course,
it went down 3% this past year. Now
Texas forever.
Yeah. Now there's still 167,000 kids playing high school football in the state of Texas, but to go down 3% in a state like that, that's pretty huge. Yeah. And they're all doing it for the same reason, and that's to avoid CTE. So, it's legit, right? Player safety is legit right now in the sport, and it's only going to continue to be that way. That's not going away anytime soon, and I don't think it's going to go away at all, really. So, we'll see how that develops. But yeah.
Awesome. So Dave, one more time, where can people find this awesome article to kind of get more insight on some of the stuff that we just talked about?
Yeah, sure. You can find it at centralmaine.com/sports. You can look me up on, Google me, Dave Dyer, Kennebec Journal. You can also follow me on Twitter at Dave_Dyer. I always connect my stories and columns and articles up to any one of those. So you should be able to find it. And it was put up online just a couple of days ago, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. But again, just to wrap up, I think there's a chance for it. I think it could be a success, and I know a lot of people are dumping on it, but it could work. It could work if they do it right.
Hey, Vince has got 2 years to fuck this up. So
he said that they have 2 years to get it right. Harmon says they have 2 years to fuck it up. I love it. Very good. All right, boys. Well, let's talk a little.
Where head injuries are a big deal.
Yes, the Royal Rumble. Let's talk the Royal Rumble, fellas. What did you guys think overall, real quick? Just from the get go, Harmon, what'd you think, man?
I think it's a shame that Rusev didn't make it the whole distance. The Philly crowd was hot for Rusev. I mean, they were chanting Rusev Day the entire time.
Rusev, number one entrant. Rusev.
Number one entrant. But also the number two entrant, Finn Balor. John Cena is the biggest heel in wrestling right now.
I mean, I hate it, but I'm supposed to hate it, and that's what makes it good.
So.
You know?
I guess. I have never hated John Cena more than I do right now.
When he dumped Finn, and then on Raw he did the attitude adjustment with the too sweet. Yeah, what a dick, huh? Dick.
What a dick.
Yeah.
But Royal Rumble, I thought it was pretty good. I liked the surprise entrance. There was, the Heath Slater spot was pretty good. Everybody kept beating him up as they go in the ring.
Yeah,
that's great.
But I liked it. I like the fact that they didn't have JBL take his hat off at the booth and jump in the ring and then get tossed right out. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
But no, I liked it. I thought it was one of the better Royal Rumbles in the past few years.
I agree.
And I think the past few Royal Rumbles helped the finish, a lot with Roman being in the ring. So,
yeah, for sure. Because the Philly crowd was super, super hot all night, you said, and they did not want to see Roman win it again.
Oh, no.
They booed him out of the arena last time. They booed the fucking Rock last time. That takes a lot for the Rock to get booed. And so if Roman won this time around, that place probably wouldn't be standing today. It was just insane. I'm right there with you, Harmon. I thought it was a really good card overall. I thought the men's Royal Rumble was really good. I thought the women's was pretty good. There were some I have some gripes about it, which we can talk about in a few minutes. But I thought the men's was really good. I thought the surprise entrants were cool. Hurricane was kind of fun. I wish he lasted a little bit longer, but it was some fun comedy shtick to kind of give some people some breathers there.
He might have had a heart attack if he lasted any longer than a couple of minutes there. He looks like he's put on a couple of pounds there, old Hurricane.
He sure did. Yeah. Yeah. How about Rey Mysterio? Holy shit. He looks like $1 million. Dave, what'd you think about Rey?
Yeah. Oh, Rey was great. Shades of old school Mysterio coming out and not wearing the baggy pants, but wearing the tights and looking in great shape and hitting all the usual spots. It was amazing. And I guess from what I've heard, it's at least as of right now, it's a one-off, but I can't think that he's not going to at least have one more run in WWE. I mean, they got to get that deal done. I mean, he looked great, and you could still make some money off Mysterio here on the back end of his career. I'm convinced that he could, he certainly, in this day and age of the quote unquote special attractions of having the old guys come back and be around for, like 4 months and then go away and come back for like Mania season like they do. I dump on it a lot. Like I'm not the world's biggest fan of Jericho just showing up whenever he wants to and having a Mania match that he may not have deserved and stuff like that. Mysterio, though, I think is an exception to the rule because the dude can come in. He's still amazing. And he can easily help push younger guys, and especially with the 205 Live that's going on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking right there. Like, I thought that'd be a pretty good spot for him. I read somewhere, and obviously this wasn't confirmed, and maybe this was just like someone's idea, but it would be cool if he had kind of like a Brock kind of schedule where he doesn't need to be on Raw or 205 Live like every friggin' week, but he comes in. He hits the big events. Maybe he's just strictly 205 and they try and like work him into the main roster at some points. But
comes in, win the championship, comes back 2 months later.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, Jesus Christ, we do it with Brock and, it seems to work for the most part. They have supplemental, pushes with guys when Brock's not there. Like they have friggin' Roman Reigns win the IC belt. I mean, all kinds of shit's going on. And especially right now where 205 Live, they don't have that star anymore. I mean, Enzo is gone. Neville is gone. Austin Aries is gone. Like they have a lot of talent there, but they don't have a guy, like a top dog there. And Rey Mysterio could come in and be that guy. I think Kalisto, they were thinking about with Kalisto. They were thinking about that with Kalisto. They don't
run with Drew Gulak. They're fucking crazy.
Oh, he's so good. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like they don't have like a big guy that's like that's kind of dominating the division. And I think Ray could be that guy. I mean, I'm thinking about the dream matches right now, especially because all these guys are like really young. Ray versus Kalisto, Ray versus Jesus Christ, Ray versus a returning Neville. Can you imagine that? I mean, Ray versus Gulak. Like, there's all like these dream matches that could happen at 205, and it would be main event quality or main roster quality. I mean, they're gonna do that tournament, and the finals are gonna be at WrestleMania. So
what if Ray made a stable of luchadors? Like Ray, Lindsay, Graham Metalik, and
yeah. Would it be called the LWO or
yes?
Yes. I
Bring back the LWO.
Yeah.
My only, I think the only thing on the other side of the equation here is, would the E be able to sell Mysterio on that? Like, look, you're going to be the face of 205 Live. And the guy, the only reason why I asked this is because the guy has spent his entire career overcoming the cruiserweight obstacle. You know what I mean? Like he overcame being the little guy to win the title. I know he's usually down for anything and everything, so that's why it's not that too big of a deal. But they still have to make sure they do a really good job, like selling to him, like Vince or Triple H or whoever's going to do it, being like, look, like this is more than just a cruiserweight or lightweight belt. Like we're really trying to build a division off of here, and you're the legend of these size guys, so you're the perfect face for this division. and pushing this division forward. Like you're a huge part of the success of this thing if it goes forward and if he signs with them. So
Right.
just a really good solid job by them if they do it.
Well, yeah, and I think that they've done a really piss poor job of making that division relevant and seeming like important and legit. I mean, and that falls solely on WWE. I mean, if they had this stronger division where they could go, look, man, some of these guys are future stars. There's, we see a lot of you in some of these guys. Come on in and, be that guy to kind of lead them, like you said. And I think that would be a great way to go about it, but they just haven't done it with the 205 division, and they got to really make that strong.
They don't let them mingle at all. I mean,
yeah, they keep them really segregated to like their own show.
You don't even have like you could have tag teams made up of, a 205 guy and other guys, and have decent tag matches and good tag matches, and be like, oh, if you want to see, Tony Nese wrestle singles competition, check him out on 205 Live. Otherwise, he's teaming up with blah blah, or.
Yeah, and I mean, and we talk about it all the time, but I mean, and maybe this could be that fast track to that division going to the main roster more. Like Rey Mysterio could be that guy that gets him there. So I don't know. It's interesting,
Tony
but anyway,
Apollo Crews, call the team Abs Solution.
Abs Solution.
Yeah, 7-minute abs.
Are we all on board with Nakamura being the obviously I love the fact that Reigns was the final two because that built great heat with the Philly crowd. Are we all on board with Nakamura winning and then having or meeting Styles at WrestleMania? I certainly am. I don't
I thought I was until his promo on SmackDown. It was rough.
I have not seen it yet.
The language barrier is still there, and he is just so friggin' weird that I don't understand what he's getting at sometimes. Like he was talking about AJ Styles, and then he was talking to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It was like so weird. He's so weird. Yeah. I don't know. He's so different.
Yeah, I don't mind that he's different, but I think sometimes I don't know if they're pushing him to be even more weird than he is or what, but it's sometimes I'm like, why can't he just be like this, like weird but silent, like killer, like just be lethal. Like he's so goofy sometimes that I think it hurts his brand. And I don't think that Vince or whoever sees like his potential. I mean, and as I'm saying that, I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, he just won the Rumble. But I'm
But who seems more dangerous on the surface, AJ Styles or Shinsuke Nakamura?
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems that AJ is more proven in WWE. I mean, yeah, I would, okay. And he's got that mentality of like, he's got that chip on his shoulder, right? Like he's SmackDown's the house that AJ Styles built. I mean, he's got all that stuff going for him. I just think that Shinsuke is just still really unproven in WWE right now, and it's a big leap, I think, to headline WrestleMania with him. I don't mind it. I'm a big Shinsuke fan, but I just think that they might be barking up the wrong tree on this one. And I know people are gonna like lose their minds because they're gonna be like, oh, did you ever see the Wrestle Kingdom? It's like, yes, I saw it. It's like, I saw that match. I get it. It's a fucking crazy match. It's a great match. But what are they gonna do in WWE to top that? It's just gonna be probably not as good, just on a bigger stage. I can't. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys agree or disagree with that? Like,
in fairness to Nakamura, he does have like for whatever reason, and let me just state right now, I don't really get the love for Nakamura, but the crowd loves him. I mean, he for whatever reason, like even if you don't understand what he's saying, like even if you don't understand what he's saying, he still has that like charisma or that it factor that the crowd just thrives on. I don't know. It's strange to me. I didn't get Nakamura before he came to WWE. I certainly don't get Nakamura now, but I'm all for any. I'm behind. I'm cool with any guy who's making the crowd get up out of their seat.
Yeah, I just think
about as unique as individual as they've ever had.
Right.
I just don't get. I guess I just don't get why he is like what he's done in WWE to deserve a WrestleMania moment. You know what I mean? Like his best match was his first match against Sami Zayn in NXT. That was his best match. The matches against Samoa Joe were really good in NXT. His match against Finn was really good in NXT, but he hasn't done dick on the main roster. And I'm not putting that all on him because I think it's a much bigger pond, and there's a lot of fucking fish around. But like, it seemed like such a stretch, and it seemed like that they had one goal in mind was they want to recreate this Wrestle Kingdom match between him and AJ Styles because again they think that they can do it on a bigger stage and they think that they can make it better, and they're just not. They're not going to make it better. It's not going to be as good a match. It's going to be a letdown. Fans will love it who didn't watch that match, but essentially like it's just the same match, and you have all these like super smarky wrestling dweebs like us that are like, oh, that's gonna be the Wrestle Kingdom match, it's gonna be awesome, like Shinsuke versus AJ Styles. And I'm not trying to like, shrug shoulders at that, but it's just like, what the fuck, man? They've already done it, or it's already been done, just not on that stage. It's like it reminds me of fucking WCW, like doing Hogan versus Piper. Like, it's like, well, WWE did that already. Like, I don't know. I'm just
20 years earlier.
Yeah, I'm just not like super pumped for it like everybody else is, I guess. I secretly wanted him to tell Renee Young that he wanted to fight Brock Lesnar. I thought that would have been a much better surprise and a much better angle.
Because what do you do with Braun Strowman?
Well, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe you do a trade. Maybe Braun goes over to SmackDown, but they could work something out with that. I mean, Jesus Christ, like Shinsuke chose to swap brands to come over to Raw to fight Lesnar. So in turn, Raw has to give SmackDown a superstar, and it ends up being like Braun Strowman, and he comes in and fucking destroys the whole SmackDown set, and it's like. It's just easy. It's easy writing, and I don't know why they don't do it.
I'm gonna. I don't want to go spend too much time on this, but John, you don't. I know you don't get to watch New Japan very often. I get to see old episodes on whatever freaking channel it's on. But do you watch the Being the Elite YouTube series?
I don't. No, I've heard great things. I just never.
It is exactly the way that you want a story to be told nowadays. On social media, watch it at your leisure. It gives you behind the scenes stuff, but it also gives you storyline stuff. Like they've been leading to this Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes thing for a long time. And you don't know who in the group is going with who. I mean, you kind of get the feeling that Hangman Page is with Cody Rhodes, but you don't know where Marty Scurll is right now.
Marty Squirrel.
Marty Squirrel. You don't know what the Young Bucks really think. Like the last episode ended with a long walk with Kenny Omega walking down through the hallway of a hotel, and he knocks on a door. The Bucks open the door up, and Kota Ibushi joins Kenny Omega, and they let them into the room. And you're like, well, what is going on here?
Yeah, what's happening here? Yeah.
It's so intriguing. I want to know what is happening with the Bullet Club so much. And it has almost nothing to do with New Japan. I mean, the storyline is playing out on New Japan, but I don't know. It's amazing.
It's interesting, man. I'll have to binge it.
The WWE is kind of doing something like that with the mixed match challenge. They put out a video the other day with Braun Strowman saying he thought Alexa Bliss was cute, and she said, well, you're kind of cute too, and we're gonna go all the way. And his face lit up. And then she's like, we're gonna make it all the way to the final round. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna win this thing. You realize
that's awesome
what she was talking about. But stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let me ask Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it. No, go for it, Dave.
No, I was just gonna ask this, and I'll drop Nakamura after this. But do you guys? And it's something that I've noticed. It seems like opponents of Nakamura don't, outside of AJ and the guys who've already wrestled him, don't really know how to wrestle. Like with Nakamura, like they don't really get his style, or they don't really mesh with his style.
That's a great point. Yep. I don't think he's meshed well with anybody yet. I thought, like I said, Sammy I thought was good. Finn was good. Samoa Joe good. Ziggler I didn't think was good at all, and Ziggler can work with anybody, but I just didn't think it was.
He's had a couple matches with Kevin Owens, but they wrestled together on the Independents too. So
yeah,
kind of had an idea. I think the only other person that I think from that he's wrestled before that I want to see is Brock.
Yeah.
Different styles. Talking about like different styles of wrestling. Moving on to the women's Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Could you not see the huge disparity in skills between the ladies they brought back and the ladies that are wrestling right now during that match?
Yeah, it was very apparent. And you could chalk up some of it for being ring rust, but like I thought a lot of the women that they brought back had a lot of ring rust, man. I mean, Lita, I thought she was going to kill herself with that moonsault.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. I thought Trish Stratus did really well. She looks like $1 million. She did pretty well.
Okay. Kelly looked horrible.
Kelly looked bad. I mean, she was never a great wrestler anyway, but I mean, the same thing with Tori Wilson.
Michelle McCool started out rough. She got a little better towards the end.
But she was a train wreck, man. I didn't enjoy that at all. She was just like dumping girls like left and right, like over the top rope with no regard, like for their safety.
I actually thought that Tori Wilson looked better in the ring Sunday night than she did her whole career.
Yes,
that's not a stretch, Dave.
No. And I know because she couldn't do anything back in the day. So I'm like, did she actually go to a wrestling school for a couple of weeks to prepare for this match? I mean, it was. I was like, wow. It's like, hey, she actually.
It made me love Mickie James a little more. I'm like, man, she is so good.
Yeah, she's so good. Molly Holly looks good though. Molly Holly looked really good. Yeah, but I mean, she's
a vampire. She hasn't aged a day.
Yeah, and I mean, and she's trains at that school and stuff too, so she's with it. I mean, she's not rusty at all. She trains all the time, so that was very apparent. I mean, I didn't see much from Jacqueline, but I mean, she's obviously a little bit older than the rest of those gals too. But yeah, I mean, it was fun to see those names, and to see those women, but at the end of the day, I was like, this is kind of a train wreck of a match. I mean, it had some high spots, but I don't know. I didn't thoroughly enjoy the women's Rumble that much. There was a lot of stuff going wrong. I didn't love that Nia Jax kind of got bumped out, which I thought was like pretty early.
She got the Big Show treatment, where everybody attacks. Yeah, she's the biggest one in the ring.
Yeah, I just thought,
I could have done with less legends and maybe more NXT people. Where
I agree totally.
Nikki Cross, where was the iconic duo? I mean, if Ember Moon comes in with a busted up wing, that's great and all, but I want.
I totally agree. I wanted more NXT gals, and I wanted girls who just weren't even signed. That they bring in, one-offs that were like.
That's a perfect spot for her.
Exactly, Santana,
Blue Pants.
Right? Blue Pants, Santana Garrett. I mean, bring these girls in. I mean, maybe you're not going to get that great pop because not the entire WWE.
Oh, I would have popped huge for Piper Niven if she came in.
Yeah, where are those girls? Yeah, where are those girls that were in the Mae Young Classic? Like, bring more of those guys in, or those girls in.
It seemed to be more of a celebration of the last 20 years of women's wrestling in the WWE than it was for what they have now and what they have going for the future. Now, obviously, this is going to end up becoming something that they're going to do every year. So maybe in the ensuing years, like going forward, it will be more based on the current and future roster. That's my takeaway from it. Like, it didn't shock me. It didn't shock me that former names came back. It shocked me at the number of former names that came back. Right. I mean,
It's like a few years ago when they had the Rumble. They had like Kevin Nash in it and DDP, and it was all those old guys. I'm like,
Booker T.
God.
Yeah.
But I think they got the Rumble right this year with the men. They had Andrade in there and Adam Cole, and I thought it was really pretty good this year.
Yeah, I like that both. I like that both.
He blasted right out of the ring. I love that.
Yeah, I liked that both NXT champs were in the Rumble, and I think we've all said this at one point in time that I think it should just be automatic that the NXT champ is in the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? Like it just makes sense. It makes sense. Mark it down. Every year, that's a rule. You've earned your way into the Rumble by being the NXT champ, the men's champ or the women's champ. Give him a decent
number. Give him number 15. Give him number 20.
Yeah. I think they're seeing. I think they're going to really push CN. I think I didn't think that they were going to be behind this guy, but man, like that's incredible with him as the champ.
So good. He's so good.
He is good. He's really good. Yeah. I was pumped to see him, pumped to see Adam Cole. The thing that was weird though is like these guys have all taken a beating the night before at TakeOver.
Oh yeah,
and they're still in there. Like Adam Cole, like that chair. I mean, I didn't.
Match.
Yeah, that chair spot where he just like where he hits his ribs. Like Jesus, man, It was brutal. But there were two moments, one in each Royal Rumble that I really, really liked. One was in the men's where it was near the end, where it was like the last six guys. You had Cena, Ray, and Orton on one side, and then you had Roman, Finn, and Nakamura on the other. And it was kind of like the old versus the new kind of sides. And I thought that was a really cool moment. I wanted it to last a little bit longer, but I think Cena kind of jumped the gun with getting back in the action. I thought that there really could have been, if there was ever a time to point at the WrestleMania sign, it was like that time. Dave, did we ever get a count on how many, by the way, at the end of the night?
Unofficially 19.
Unofficially
19 points to the WrestleMania sign. That includes the 2 by Rousey at the end of the end of the evening. But
did somebody tell her to stand sideways like that? I mean,
oh, it's weird.
It was,
but anyway,
awkward as hell. Anyway.
Yeah, it did look weird. And then real quick, the other moment that I thought in the women's, that was kind of like a built-up spot that I really liked was Mickey and Trish being like the only like last like people standing like at the moment. Everybody else was like either outside the ring or down, and they were just kind of standing, like staring at each other, kind of shaking their heads like, yeah, this is like, because they had like such a good rivalry. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a really cool moment that how they purposely design matches like that to get to a certain point, to have certain members left in there. I thought it was cool. It was like props to them for designing it like that. But yeah,
I don't know if it's still.
What's that?
With Beth Phoenix and Natalya, they kind of did it too.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
Sisters of Destruction came back for just the splittest of seconds, and
It used to be Pat Patterson who was in charge of the Rumble every year, and I don't know if he still is or not, but that's, at least in previous years, that was the guy who drew it up, since he was the innovator of the Royal Rumble. That it was kind of like his baby every year. I don't know if he still is doing that. I mean, I know Patterson's pretty damn old now, but
ancient.
Ancient. But at least in previous years, he was the guy. So.
All right, so the big shocker at the end of the night, Ronda Rousey making her presence known. What did you guys think? Dave, we'll start with you because I know that you've got like the biggest heart on right now for her. So what's up? What do you get for Ronda Rousey?
I'm certainly I am absolutely stoked. I mean, anybody who's read my writing previously knows I'm a huge. I've written columns about Rousey. I'm a huge fan. I from day one, and I'm thrilled that she's in the WWE. I think it's the right move for her at this point in her career. But I'm the first person to stand in line and say that the introduction at the Rumble on Sunday night was nothing short of atrocious. You bring her out there, and she's wearing the Roddy Piper stuff. She's wearing his jacket. She's got the T-shirt that's, Roddy Piper inspired. She just walks out to the ring and she stares down the two champs in Asuka, and she just looks up the sign, and then she stands awkwardly and she points at it.
It's like somebody told her, make sure you look at the hard cam, but then she was like, well, I should be staring at them at the same time, so she's like looking over her shoulder awkwardly and looking at the sign. It was
it was just bad. It was bad. It was bad planning by WWE. It was bad, acting on Rousey's part. And look, it's her very first. Well, not very first. She's been in WWE ring before, for WrestleMania. But this, like, her first introduction as herself as a character, it was a major fumble by WWE on Sunday night. And I know they'll do everything they can to put her in an even better situation going forward. Obviously, she's not going to be in the ring until WrestleMania. I don't think they're going to even do anything remotely to put her in any match between now and then. Just kind of like build her up as a character and then have the big payoff actually at WrestleMania. I'm still convinced, though, that it's the right move, that eventually with time and with time in the ring that she can absolutely still be successful in WWE. The reputation that she brings, the fan base that she brings, she's a legitimate ass kicker, in that women's division. I think it's perfect. I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be great. But that introduction was terrible. It is awful, and that's on WWE. I put that completely on them. I think it was bad planning. I don't know if that's on Stephanie or whoever. But
what's the deal with not having her show up on Raw? I mean, if she's going to be a wrestler now, why was she not at Raw?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I don't know if you know this or not about Ronda Rousey, but she's awkward as fuck. Like, she is. I think her two losses in the UFC there, like those brutal losses, that really shook her. She is not like the Ronda Rousey of old. Like, just her whole demeanor, like, she's super timid and weird. She's a fish out of water right now. She does not know where to stand, where to look, like who to talk to. I noticed it like immediately, like when they were doing the Mae Young Classic and she was there in support of Shayna Baszler, and they did like these weird clips where they were like approaching like the four horsewomen of like NXT. WWE, of NXT. Yeah. She doesn't know when to say things. And it's just really, really weird to me that she can't figure it out. Because I remember her being like a trash talker and like just being an ass kicker. It's hard to see her right now like this. I think WWE is the right move. I think her UFC career is definitely over, but I think
somebody's going to tell her to get out of her own head and loosen up some, because right now she's playing pretty tight and she needs a script, to get through the simplest of things. And I think once she gets a little more comfortable, probably in wrestling, I mean, it probably just feels weird for her to stand in that ring,
Yeah.
She's like, wow, this is soft on the bottom, but hard at the same time. Weird.
Yeah.
What are these ropes?
They'll give her every opportunity to improve too, and they'll stick her with the right teachers to as she goes along too. I
think the transition from MMA to wrestling sometimes isn't as easy as people would think. I think Shayna Baszler, like, she hits the ropes funny, but like Sonya Deville, she's doing pretty good. She hits the ropes good. She uses a lot of striking, which is different. But
I'll even go back to 20 years ago. Ken Shamrock made a pretty decent transition from MMA to wrestling, but Dan Severn didn't. Like, he was a legitimate shit kicker, and he couldn't do it in WWE. He couldn't, do it.
One of those guys is still in the independents, like, still wrestling.
Yeah.
Dan Severn still out there pounding pavement.
Yeah.
Making towns.
Weird. Making towns, baby. Making towns, making rounds. But I mean, overall, like I said, I didn't love the Women's Royal Rumble. I thought it was okay, but the Ronda Rousey stuff was I just wish they would have. I wish they would have saved that moment for Raw, because it seems like Asuka kind of got the Raw end of the deal in that too. Like
she really got her toe stepped on there.
Yeah, I mean, she got to slap her hand away, which I guess is cool, but it just I would have liked to seen Asuka like have that moment, and even like Charlotte and Alexa like have that moment, because they were involved in that too, and she, and Asuka got to choose like who she was going to face, and they're part of that. And Rousey just kind of came in, and like Dave said, that's not really on her, that's on WWE or whoever made that decision. But yeah, I was not feeling it at all. As thrilled as I am for her to be there, I just think the timing of it was poor. So, and how bad was Steph on commentary, by the way?
Brutal.
Jeez,
brutal.
Very, very bad.
Really bad.
Who's the poor bastard who's gonna go back, backstage, that's gonna tell her that might not have been the greatest commentary of all time, Steph?
Nobody's gonna tell her that.
No,
except Daddy.
Yeah.
But anyway, what did you guys think of any of the other matches, the non-Rumble matches? Anything that stood out to you guys? I've got some opinions on the main on the men's Universal Championship, but
well, it seems like first with Braun and Brock, I swear to God, they're delivering real punches and kicks to each other.
They did, yeah.
I don't think they're holding back.
No,
when they're fighting each other.
No, I think they were definitely communicating with fists there for a second, because I think Braun let one go and Brock caught it, and he was like, no, punched him right square in the side of the face, and I was like, there's your receipt. And then Braun kind of calmed down after that. But there was a tense couple of minutes there where I thought these guys are really punching each other in the face. So
yeah, I mean, we got to remember, Braun isn't like that seasoned still. I mean, he's a great athlete for his size, but he hasn't been doing this for very long.
No,
and
2-3 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to make mistakes. And I think that when you're in the ring with Lesnar and you make a mistake, like you have to pay for it, unfortunately. And he did
eat a lot of potatoes.
Yeah. And he definitely did on that one. But whatever, man, it's going to make him better.
I feel like Brock is a major bully in the ring.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
And I think he's delivering stiff shots regardless of whether you're a seasoned pro or you're a rookie. I think Braun just got tired of his crap. It's just like,
you're probably right, because remember Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns came out of those matches bloody too, like bloody mouthed.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he's like, screw this. You're gonna deck me in the face. I'm gonna deck you back. I'm just as big as you. I can throw you around too, pal.
Yeah.
And the other thing I took away too, I don't know who this would be on, if this would be on Brock or if this would be on Kane, but to throw Kane on top of a table and not take away the monitors.
Oh man, that was brutal.
And a friggin' monitor went right up in Kane's ribs.
Oh my God, right in the bread basket.
I would have been one pissed off guy on coming into the back after that match and being like, what are you thinking? Like, what's actually going through your brain as you're throwing me on top of a table with all the monitors?
Knock that monitor out of the way.
That was brutal. Are you guys good with Kane just going away? I mean, I love Kane, but come on, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah,
There's no way
go on to be mayor.
Yeah, no way he should be competing for the title. Nonetheless, I mean, this is craziness. I mean, it was a safe way to. It was a safe way to protect Braun, from getting hurt by a loss, with Kane taking the pin. But I don't know, man. I think at some point soon they're gonna have to give that belt to Braun. I mean, he's super over. They have to. They got to do it. They got to pull the trigger.
I would just give anything for them to stop doing these feats of strength that are just ridiculous at this point. Like, here, let me just push over this truck because I can.
Yeah, that was a total jumping the shark moment there with that semi. That was insane.
Let me.
Raw when he flipped the stage, I could see that,
Yeah.
I can fathom that. The semi truck, no, that's
yeah. With all the cutaway shots too, the camera angles. It's okay, what are we doing here? Come on, guys. But I don't know. The rest of the matches I didn't think were that great. There's the tag title match. It was a weird way to go about that with Jordan getting hurt and just kind of sitting it out. Right? That was weird.
Seth did a great
job.
Hurt. He carried the match pretty well.
I guess the thing is he got hurt at a house show.
Yeah.
And like he really wasn't like medically cleared to like wrestle. Like he couldn't really wrestle. So that's
weird.
The way why they did it that way.
Huh.
Hey, when you're Kurt Angle's son, you need to wrestle through any injury. He wrestled with a broken freaking neck, crying out loud. Come on.
It's true.
You're an Angle.
Sort of.
Yeah. And then what else was there? Was there anything else? There was like a Bobby Roode. I didn't see that. It was on the pre-show. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, Mojo. It wasn't. It was what it was. It wasn't the best match in the world.
Yeah.
Mojo's fire, but Bobby Roode is in a class, a class ahead by a long shot.
Yeah. It's
Bobby
not
Roode's great.
Mojo Rawley has no business wrestling Bobby Roode at this point in his career, honestly. Unless it's a 5 minute, unless it's like a 2.5 minute squash match that Roode is going over on. Let me ask this question really quick.
Sure.
And it's coming up this month. All right, Steph comes out on Raw and announces the first ever women's elimination chamber match. Are we going to be doing this all the time now? Are we going to be doing like first ever women's match every effing month now? Because it's getting a little much.
There isn't much left. I mean, I don't think there's anything left that they haven't done. I mean, they've done a cage match. They've done an Iron Woman match. They've done. They did hardcore matches back in the old days. I mean, Molly Holly was hardcore champion for Christ's sakes.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what else they can do.
I don't mind them. I mean, I think they're kind of cool. I think that the Rumble was a good idea. I mean, I don't know about this elimination chamber match thing. Like, I could see them doing it separately, but I feel like they're cramming all these matches on the same card.
Precisely.
It just takes so long.
I don't have a problem with the first ever women's elimination chamber match. I have a problem with this. Every single month we have to have a first new something. Space it out. Save it up a little bit. Goodness gracious, you don't have to give us the first of everything every freaking month. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. You need stuff for the future. It's okay to like hold off for a little while to do first ever again. That's not a sexist thing. That's good planning. I mean, right.
My
God, that's what's killing me. But
before we wrap up here, I know you guys mentioned a couple names in the women's Rumble, but was there anybody missing from the men's Rumble that you thought should have been in that that we did not see? Like, I can think of a few. Like, for me, I thought Bludgeon Brothers could have had a spot in there somewhere. Fandango and Breeze, I thought, could have had a spot in there somewhere. But what about you guys? Harmon, what did you think? Anybody come to mind?
No. I thought maybe they'd have somebody from NXT, like maybe EC3 in it, or, I mean, they had some guys from NXT, but I don't know. I thought they'd have a couple more, but I like the ones that they had in there. I'm glad they didn't put Gargano in there because he took a beating the night before.
Yeah, of course.
But then again, Adam Cole, shows up with, taped up ribs.
Right.
Why does Adam Cole get to go in and not Aleister Black?
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Dave, what about you? Anybody on your list that you thought should have been in that wasn't?
I'm honestly okay with who they had in the Rumble. I know, so guys like Harper missed out, but unfortunately, when you have a roster the size of WWE's these days, it's just going to happen. It stinks. It's not fun, but especially for a guy like, obviously, I'd love to see Fandango in there. He's the hometown guy, but unfortunately, the roster's so big, and you're trying to get so many people in there. And
next year, 60-man Rumble.
Oh my God. Dave and I were at the 40-man, and it was atrocious. It was really hard to get through. They threw we
were there for a historic match, and they still haven't done it. They still haven't done 40. They haven't gone back to
every member of Nexus running in. It was pretty insane.
I think that's what made it 40. Just to have all the members of Nexus in there, and we'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I?
I think overall, the Rumble, I would give it a B plus. I mean, I thought
B
it was
plus.
pretty good.
Yeah, I'm down with that. It was a very solid Rumble. I with a couple of days to sit on it and think about what happened overall, it was the B plus area.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I'm thinking B plus too. The men's Rumble really stood out. I thought it was done really, really well. Really, the other matches I didn't love, but that's kind of why it's not in the A bracket. But that's why I think it's still a B. But the women's Rumble, I hope gets a little bit better. I like what one of you guys said. I can't remember which one, but said that maybe this was kind of just the remembrance of like years past, and then maybe moving forward get more NXT or upcoming ladies in there. That would be good for next year. But yeah, so that's it, man. That's the Rumble. I enjoyed it. So
I'd like to wish you both a happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day.
Absolutely.
Maybe that guy will get a push finally, like a good one, not just like by the fans. But
he was incredibly over and
super over.
I don't know if there's a large Bulgarian contingent in Philadelphia, but they were there.
Yeah,
they were there.
They were. Let's see, Dave. Where are you on social media? Where can people find you?
Social media, you can find me on Twitter at Dave_Dyer. It's not too hard to find me on Facebook. Those are my major areas of social media hangout. So hit that up anytime, especially Twitter. So
sweet. And Harmon, what about yourself?
At Harmon316.
Beautiful. I'm at Johnny Fashion on Twitter. You guys can follow the show at Main Event Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We have the hotline 929-260-3099. We got a Teespring store, and we're on Podbean and iTunes. Check that out. And big shout out to Follow the Fox. They do the intro and outro music for us. Dylan and Sarah, based out of Denver, Colorado. They're the best. Give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook at Follow the Fox Band, and you can go to their website, followthefoxband.com. That's about it, boys. I want to thank you guys both for joining me, talking Royal Rumble and the XFL. Dave, again, hell of an article. I encourage everybody to read it and share it. And you got some good ideas there, brother. Vince McMahon would be wise to take your advice. So, boys, thank you so much.
I'm willing to be on the writing team anytime, Vince.
Yeah. You can find him on Twitter.
Yeah,
XFL doesn't need a writing team.
Yeah, right.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, we want to stray away from that. Remember?
I was hoping first it could be a dual job. He could hire me for the writing team for WWE, and then he could have me as like I don't know what I would be for the XFL.
A third string quarterback.
Yes. Absolutely. That also does interviews on the sidelines.
Yeah,
so.
Nice.
I'm sure for how old are you? 34 now? 30?
I'll be 33 in September. So I'm getting up there.
I was giving you a year. So
I appreciate it. it.
33. You're like at the tail end of your prime. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There's definitely a large calling for 5'10", 230-pound quarterback.
Aging quarterback.
With
Nice.
bad knees and a crippled hip.
Right. Oh, you also caught in baseball? You were a catcher? Yeah, we're not interested. Yeah. Your knees must be garbage. We're all set with you. Thank you, sir.
You can throw the old Peyton Manning duck. That's about it right now.
You can measure my 40 with an hourglass. That's all I need.
Nice. All right, boys. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys both so much. We will, listeners at home, we'll catch you later.
Bye.